Trap is a new M. Night Shyamalan experience, according to this poster here. Welcome back to Movie Health Community, the internet's #1 source of health warnings at the movies. That's right, M. Night Shyamalan is back with a new twisty thriller movie. This time it's set against the backdrop of a pop concert with the threat of a serial killer. But the first question on our minds at Movie Health Community is always, is this movie safe for photosensitive audiences? The answer is no, but I say that with a smile on my face. Now here's why. I saw the trailers for this movie, and I saw that we were getting something set against a concert. I thought the concert was going to be filled to the brim with strobe effects. The concert really isn't. There are some lighting effects that happen during this concert, and there's some somewhat dim strobe lights that flash against the audience, but we never actually see those lights themselves on the stage. The strobe lights in this movie are actually in the final act of the movie, and they are caused by police cars. There are police cars throughout the entire third act of the movie. They have modern strobe lights on them, and there are some close-ups of those lights. Those strobes are pretty strong. Going back to the concert a little bit, there is one moment where the screens behind the performer show some mild to moderate lightning, but I saw much worse lightning in, say, The Last Voyage of the Demeter last year. So I am going to give Trap a 7 out of 10 for flashing lights. The reason I'm not going higher than that is because of how predictable these scenes are and how surprising it is that the concert scenes are not as big a worry as one would expect. In terms of motion, there is some handheld and some mild shaking camera work. This is infrequent. Not much to worry about there. In terms of mental health, obviously we're dealing with a serial killer. There's some kidnapping in this movie, some descriptions of rather horrific violence, including someone describing how they are planning out a murder-suicide plan. That about does it for any health warnings. Let's talk about if this movie's any good or not. I will start with what this movie does really well, and that is give us some really good moments of tension. There are some moments that feel genuinely tense where you have no idea what's going to happen by the end of the scene, and there are some real stakes at work. The use of extras in this movie was excellent. It seems like they did hire a good number of extras. There are some scenes where it's obvious there are computer extras in the background, but for a lot of the scenes that would traditionally require extras, it's very apparent that they did hire a lot of them. But the ideas that this movie is built on are not very strong. There are some movies where you can depict a straight up villain and make them relatable, and even though they're doing villain things, you find them relatable and you find yourself kind of rooting for them, or rooting for them to get caught, or rooting for things to go a certain way. I did not get that impression dealing with the deranged minds written into this movie. That just has to do with the fact that I just need relatable protagonists. Whether they're going to end up good or evil, or whether they're on the path of good or evil, I still need my characters to be relatable. And even though this movie did a fairly decent job looking into an unrelatable mind, I don't feel like they did a good job making that relatable to a regular audience. Where this movie really shines above most other movies that try this is in the music. This is not just a case of nepotism. When you get the actor playing the artist being the child of the director and writer of the movie, this was actually a case where the family member who stepped up to the task did just as good as any pop star they could have hired. Like when they hired Miley Cyrus to be the fictional pop star in that episode of Black Mirror. Recording artist Saleka, who is Saleka Night Shyamalan, stepped up to the task just as good as Miley Cyrus did for that Black Mirror episode. Where this movie suffers the most is in its expositional dialogue. There are just these moments of exposition dumps, and it feels like they are looking for the least smart ways to go about doing these expositions, One example is one of these exposition dumps is done over the radio of a SWAT team and does not remotely follow radio etiquette that you should be following if you're on the same channel as law enforcement. That, along with a few other logistical impossibilities, does take you out of the movie a little bit, and that's something that M. Night Shyamalan has really struggled with in a lot of his more recent movies, is he'll get these decent ideas and then include these things that are so ridiculous that they just take you out of it. It ruined Knock at the Cabin for me, which did have, I thought, more interesting premises to go on than this movie. This is a really hard movie to grade because I did love the tension and I did love how good Saleka stood up to the task in front of her. But just knowing what M. Night Shyamalan is capable of, this is not up to the standard of what he is capable of. Like what he has proven to be good at in the past. He didn't really seem to bring it to this movie. And I feel really bad for the filmmakers who get these ideas that just aren't as good as the ones that put them on the map and just go ahead and make them anyway because they want to, and they end up not being very good or not received very well. But you can still tell that the love is there, and this does still feel like the love of the craft of psychological thrillers that M. Night Shyamalan holds so preciously and so dearly. That love is still there, so I gotta give him some credit for that. I am going to give Trap a solid C. Thank you so much to our readers on Tumblr and Facebook, and as always, an extra special thanks to our patrons over on our Patreon page whose names are scrolling on the screen like credits right now. As a reminder, nothing produced by Movie Health Community is medical advice, nor has any of it ever been reviewed by any medical professionals. Be sure to leave a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon if you want to be notified when we post new videos, and leave a comment if you have anything to add to this discourse, especially if you disagree with anything I've said. We love hearing from you. And as always, stay safe at the movies.